right. I'm here. I don't know why I can't get streaming to work properly on Brave. I gotta use Google. I don't know why. It's basically the same thing, so why it has to be like that, I don't know. Make sure I have all my screen turned on so I forget to do that later. Even though now it'll look like that, which is stupid. Oh, fuck. God, you're so stupid. Piece of goddamn shit. Why is Brave so fucking useless? I don't know. Just gotta get my stuff set up. I'm not good at doing this before the stream. I just don't know how to set it up. Boop. He says all the right things at exactly the right time. All right, so here I am at work. I work at Canada Post. Right now, we're on strike. So I could be on the line walking around with a sign, and I will, just not today. But I thought, hey, what a great opportunity to have more live streams, as I couldn't stream last Saturday. I was busy, as I'm sure you guys were devastated to learn because of how much you love my live streams. And it's not easy to find new adaptation news about game adaptations. There just doesn't seem to be as much out than there is just about video games in general. But Mortal Kombat 2 has officially been delayed. This was recently announced. And this makes me very sad because I actually was looking forward to the game, to the show, and it was coming out. It was supposed to come out October 24th, 2025. Now they've delayed it to May 16th, 2026. And that's a freaking insane delay. That's an absolutely insane length of time to delay. That's a delay of about 7 months. And considering the movie is already done, reportedly the movie is finished, and it already has been screened for the press and test audiences. And according to the online information, all the test screenings have gone well. So why did they decide to delay it in such a long time? They already had some good momentum going, and now they have to basically restart all that momentum now. The Red Band trailer drew strong numbers, 100 million globally, and seems to increase confidence. Positive audience engagement likely contributed to thinking that the movie could do better with more runway. Yeah, more time to market. So 7 more months of marketing. You're not even going to do a whole lot of marketing at all for like the next 5.5 months. I'd be interested to see how much of marketing is actually done for this now that they have a whole half a year away to market it some more. October is a crowded movie season. Lots of films are released around then, horror, prestige, award type, etc., which can eat into performance. I don't know. Would it? Shifting to May is seen as a more favorable window for action and franchise films. There tends to be better audience turnout in the summer, late spring, less competition from award season contenders, and more opportunity for a strong box office run. I believe the MK1 in 2021 came out earlier in the year, somewhere in the first quarter of the year, which was, I guess that they don't want to do that again. But they're dropping it in early May, and May is like the official beginning of the blockbuster season for summers. The blockbuster season. What's not the cause so far? There is no indication publicly that there are production delays or additional reshoots that are the cause. The delay doesn't seem to be due to negative test screening, considering the fact that reports say all feedback has been good. Implications. Here are some things that could delay potentially affects or signals. Here are some things that this delay potentially affects or signals. Marketing. With more time, the studio can build up a bigger promotional campaign. Trailers, posters, characters, reveals, etc. A longer time helps build hype. I don't know if I don't agree with that. I think maybe it does, but I just feel like they had the hype going. It was already pretty good, but then in August they delay it for like a really long time. Box office potential. Moving to May could lead to better box office returns if the film can capture summer audiences when there's less competition. I don't really get that. They're saying there's going to be less competition in the summer, where the summer and like the fall are two of the busiest times. Essentially, that whole 6 month span of time between the beginning of summer to fall to essentially the rest of the year almost. Though the last half of the year is always for like award type movies. I actually just watched one myself last night, Nuremberg, a really good movie with Rami Malek and Russell Crowe, and I could definitely see that getting nominated for a bunch of Oscars. And it was a good movie. Terrifyingly relevant when you watch a movie about Nazi World War II and how much that stuff is basically happening right now. But that is not a thing I want to talk about. It leaves a gap in Warner Brothers' New Line schedule in late 2025 and early 2026. This could shift how other films are positioned. What other films do they have coming out right now? Fan expectations might increase. Delaying can raise the stakes, meaning more scrutiny. Will the movie live up to the hype? AI is very helpful for summarizing information. When you're a lone YouTuber, content creator, it can be helpful for stuff like that. That's for sure. So, what would the competition in 2026 look like? Marvel Studios has a film scheduled for early May 2026. They don't even know yet. How can they not know what film they're going to have in May? They're pretty good about laying out their entire timeline. Exact title to be determined, but their May slots usually dominate box office. Pixar and Disney typically drops to animated tentpole in late May or June. Family audience, not direct competition, but still splits box office attention. Other WB Universal tentpoles. WB tends to stack summer, so placement signals they think Mortal Kombat can perform as a summer kickoff type movie. Yeah, that's what it is, a kickoff type movie. I really hope this works out for them. I have a lot of faith in this movie. I've been excited, getting more and more excited about it. I just think it's going to be significantly better than the first one. And I still almost look at it in a way of a soft reboot. They're going to take all the things that worked in the first film and expand on that and remove things that didn't work, aka Cole Young, aka the shittiest, most boring character in the history of movies. No offense to the actor, but his character was so freaking boring, and he's still going to be in the movie, but I have a feeling that he's going to be pushed to the side, as it seems pretty clear that they're going to make Johnny Cage the main protagonist. And if they continue on with a third or fourth film, I'm hoping it'll still be Johnny Cage. because they just always made more sense to have Johnny Cage to be the protagonist and not some random guy they made up. That was a really dumb choice on their part. By choosing mid-May, WB avoids head-to-head with Marvel's first week May slot, but still tries to capture the lingering blockbuster season buzz. Why Insiders thinks this will help MK2 bigger box office window. A spring release means fewer prestige. Is May 15th still spring? It's probably like the edge of summer. October was stacked with those. May release, get the Memorial Day summer audience, maximizing international pull. Industry writers have said WB wouldn't move the film into a prime slot unless it tested well. So it tested well, and then they moved it. Are they going to keep testing it, or is the movie just going to sit there for like the next 7 months because it's already ready to go? I just hope it doesn't get leaked. It could easily get leaked. That would suck. And even if it did, I'm someone who like would probably watch that. I might just not watch it until it comes to theater because I want to go see this one in theater. Early screenings reportedly got solid franchise sequel reactions with audience hype around characters like Johnny Cage. More time lets WB roll out multiple trailers, merch tie-ins, and convention showcases. So the Comic-Cons in 2025 and South by Southwest in 2026, maybe even WrestleMania. Why would you say that? Why is AI thinking that it has something to do with WrestleMania? Maybe there's someone in the movie who's from WrestleMania. I don't know. I don't know wrestling, so risks, possible downside. Marvel's Gravity. Even if not head-to-head, a Marvel movie in May can dominate theater screens. MK2 will need strong word of mouth to avoid getting overshadowed. With an extra 7 months, fans will expect Mortal Kombat 2 to be polished and epic. Anything less will be seen as a letdown. That's for sure. They have 7 more months to do any extra editing or polishing to the film. So they have that much more time, then it better be freaking good. Franchise fatigue. I wouldn't say that yet. Some insiders note fighting game adaptations can be niche compared to superhero or animated films. So WB is betting MK2 could break out beyond the fan base. It's like you can just keep saying yes to what it asks you, and it gives you more information. All right, I guess that's enough talking about that. But I also wanted to look at this rather alarming information that a piece of shit named Jared Kushner, who's actually the son-in-law to the biggest piece of shit in the entire world right now, who will remain nameless, but you'll probably know who I'm talking about. But it's been rumored that EA is going to be acquired in a leveraged buyout by a consortium including Affinity Partners, which is Jared Kushner's investment firm, Silver Lake, and Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. I don't know why Saudi Arabia is investing in EA. The total deal value is US is 52.55 billion, depending on whether debt is included. Shareholders will receive 210 US per share, which is roughly a 25% premium above the share price being before rumors emerged. Whatever all that money shit means. But 50 to 55 billion is pretty big considering when Xbox bought Bethesda, it was like, or when Xbox bought Activision or whatever, it was like, 60 something odd billion. The financing will include about a 36 billion in equity from the acquirers and about 20 billion in debt. The deal is expected to close in fiscal Q1 2027, subject to regulatory approval and shareholder votes. After the acquisition, EA will no longer be publicly traded. So what is that about? What does that actually mean, to not be publicly traded? Like, I can't see how this will be a good thing for EA at all, period. I mean, they're so up and down in terms of games and releasing a good game or then a bad game. Like, the new Battlefield is getting a lot of positive information. The new Battlefield is getting a lot of positive feedback, and I'm just curious to see. Like, I don't understand how a company can even not be publicly traded anymore. What does that even do to a company? But I mean, if some piece of human trash is going to own EA, they're just going to ruin it. They're just going to make every game about being a MAGA and running around killing immigrants. That's basically what they're going to do. They're going to release a game where you go around and you're killing immigrants, whether they're illegal or not. Anyone committing freedom of speech is automatically a criminal. They're going to go to jail. If they say anything against the regime, which is what people call the current administration, because they are Nazis. There's not an administration. It is a regime of Nazis. So people going around saying stuff against them will go to jail. That's what all they're going to make. Like, what are they going to make? How are these games not going to suck after this? I mean, how many people are they going to like lose EA? How many people might quit just out of, how they feel about Jared Kushner and his connection to the biggest piece of shit in the entire world? Who is actually involved? Public Investment Fund already owns a 9.9% stake in EA. In the new structure, PIF will roll over that stake. Affinity Partners is Kushner's firm, founded in 2021 by a bunch of racist Nazi pieces of shit. It's one of the equity contributors in the acquisition consortium. Silver Lake is a private equity investing firm, also participating. It's being called the largest leverage buyout in history. So I'm not sure what that means by leverage buyout and how that's different than the 60 plus billion that Xbox paid for Activision. EA is a major player in gaming with valuable franchises. Battlefield, Madden NFL. I don't know why you're not mentioning FIFA, because that one's freaking huge too. Ownership changes and such big content owners have broad implications. The deal demonstrates the increasing influence and interests of sovereign wealth, especially Saudi Arabia, and large private equity firms in technology and entertainment sectors. I don't know why anyone would want to own. I don't know why anyone would want to own anything to do with America right now. It's the biggest piece of shit in the entire fucking world. I fucking hate America. And if you're watching this and you're an American and you voted for that piece of shit, go fuck yourself. Fuck off and die. Potential implications and points of concern. Regulation approval. Regulatory scrutiny is expected because of the size of the players involved, including foreign sovereign entities. This could be a thing that could go into court or whatever. I don't know how this stuff works. Like, I don't know. There's been so much controversy on and off about EA for so many years, and now they're doing this, and it just kind of seems like, well, this just doesn't seem like it's going to help your company at all in any way whatsoever. They're going to lose a lot of customers just from this information alone, I think. Like, I don't really want to own an EA game anymore now at all. Knowing that this guy's connected to EA point blank period makes me never want to play another EA game ever. Even though at this exact moment I'm playing the new Dragon Age Veilguard, and I really like it. I think it's a really good game. Debt load. The leverage will be significant. How the debt is serviced could affect EA's investment in games, innovation, staffing, etc. I actually worked at EA for a little bit in the EA in Burnaby, BC. I worked there for about 2 years as in quality assurance. This was about 10 years ago, and I worked on FIFA 12 and FIFA 13. Management continuity versus change. While Andrew Wilson is staying, sometimes private equity takeovers lead to strategy shifts. With focus on profit and cost cutting, especially in big budget game development where costs are rising, there's always a risk of less experimentation or cuts in areas less immediately profitable. Ethics politics. Yeah, that's the big one right here out of all. Because Kushner has close ties to the biggest piece of shit in the entire world and receives funding from foreign governments, there may be concerns about conflicts of interest or political scrutiny. Yeah, I'd say. I hope EA loses a lot of fucking people for this. I hope a lot of people just don't buy EA anymore or support EA. And I'm sure lots of people are going to get laid off, but I could see people quitting themselves out of their own ethical reasons. And I don't know. This is not a good deal, I don't think, at all. And it's not going to help EA at all. I don't know if this. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, I didn't want to do that. Part of the funding is equity, about 36 billion, and the rest includes debt financing, around 20 billion, with a significant portion of debt expected to be in place at closing. JP Morgan is arranging the debt portion. What happens to EA? EA will be taken private. I.e., it will no longer be publicly traded once the transaction closes. What does that mean, though? What does that mean? It feels like a company not being publicly traded is not a good thing. I don't know enough about business. I'm not smart about financial stuff at all. But I just don't see how making EA go private is a good thing in any way at all. The closing is expected in fiscal Q1 of 2027 after securing all regulatory and shareholder approvals. Why now? Why this deal? The gaming industry is under pressure. Rising development costs, competitions, shifting consumer behaviors. Taking EA private could allow the new owners more flexibility to restructure, invest, or pivot without public market pressures. Pivot into what? Pivot into making games about being a racist piece of shit, making games about killing immigrants, anyone who's not white. They're going to release a game called Anyone Who's Not White Will Die. That's what they're going to do. They're going to release racist games where you go around and shooting up people. They're going to make a mass shooting game, but the game's going to be like, well, this guy is from MAGA, but it's definitely the left's fault because the left did it. It's all left's fault. There appears to be interest in leveraging AI, reducing overheads, and more efficiently developing game content. This is officially the death of EA. As you can see, Kushner is best known as the son-in-law to the biggest piece of shit in the entire world. She's married to the daughter of a piece of shit, so her daughter is the piece of shit too. Anyone with that last name is automatically a piece of shit. So I don't know why he was a senior advisor, because he seniorly advised stupid, shitty things, so he's a piece of shit. Anyone with connections to that guy is a piece of shit automatically. Founded in 2021, Affinity Partners invests in technology and other sectors. The firm has raised capital from Saudi sources, aka oil sources, aka just more fucking shady political shit. And I'm sure the piece of shit is going to have his dirty, fat orange fingers in this EA thing somehow. Because he's a goddamn criminal who grifts everybody. And oh my God, I fucking hate him so much. I wish I could stop talking about that piece of fucking shit. Significance and implications. Record-setting deal. This is expected to be one of the largest leveraged buyouts. We already know that. It's also one of the largest private takeover deals, and the premium and structure are massive. Implications for the investors, including Saudi Arabia's PIF. There is another big move into gaming and technology, in continuing a broader strategy of investing in global tech, media, and entertainment. Because one of the investors is a sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia, there will likely be scrutiny from regulators and possibility from politicians about foreign influence. Yeah, I'm sure that's the point. They want there to be foreign influence. They want there to be national insecurity, content, and data privacy issues. That's all this is going to be. Just another way to F over America and the world, and to steal their information, feed them lies. Kushner's involvement may amplify political interest or concern. Yeah, I don't understand how they think him being involved is a good idea. I mean, there would be lots of losers who would just automatically love that. And then people like me who have an actual heart and a brain and understand stuff will be like, yeah, well, fuck EA forever. I hope EA loses tons of business for this. I really hope they do. I feel like this could tank their entire company. Or they're just going to completely turn EA into something else and barely even be a game company anymore. Any takeover of this size must clear antitrust or competition reviews in various jurisdictions. That can take time. Yeah, this could be like in courts for a long time though. Like the same thing happened when Xbox wanted to buy Activision. They were in the court for a long time, like just talking about it and the legality of it and all the same issues. And how long that will take, I wonder. I wonder if it'll get pushed through quicker because of certain people's influence and whatnot. I can see that happening. Or people being threatened, like, hey, if you don't push this through, you're gonna die. Because that's what they do. They threaten people if they don't get what they want. But the left always chooses violence, though. Only the left. Right here, well, once private, there's less transparency for those outside the ownership group. Decisions about what to develop, cancel, or shift in direction may become more driven by cost or return rather than public expectations. Isn't it always just driven by cost? What's uncertain to be determined? Regulatory approval must get approvals from regulators in the U.S. and potentially overseas. Delays or revisions are possible. Shareholder approval. Shareholders must vote to accept the acquisition terms. If a large portion dissents or competing offers emerge, things could get complicated. A competing offer? Why would someone? How does that even work? This has already been announced, but someone can just be like, "Well, hey, I'm offering 60 billion. How about that?" Xbox should just buy them. I don't know why they haven't bought EA. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I want Xbox to buy EA now, just because the fact that they're connected in any tiny way to Kushner. Exact financial structuring. While we know parts of the financing, there may be additional contingencies, performances, incentives, and conditions while being negotiated. How EA will change under private ownership isn't fully clear. Which game divisions will get investment? Which may be scaled back? How AI will be specifically used? Staffing and studio structure. Which franchises will be pushed forward? That's a good question there. Like, what'll happen to Mass Effect? What'll happen to BioWare? Okay, if this could fuck BioWare forever. Like, this is the biggest concern for me, because even though BioWare hasn't been anywhere near to what they used to be with the Mass Effect games, and even though I really like the Dragon Age game, the latest Dragon Age game is really, really stinking good. I'm actually surprised at how good it is. But how is this going to affect BioWare and other devs that are owned by EA? I mean, BioWare is the biggest one, and I really wish that Xbox would just buy BioWare. I keep forgetting if they already did own BioWare at what point, and then EA bought them out. I don't know. I feel like they weren't owned by them, and then BioWare bought them, or EA bought them. I remember after the first Mass Effect was when EA bought them, and I thought, oh man, they're gonna F them over. But then Mass Effect 2 came out, and if you played Mass Effect 2, you know that's amazing, and a lot of people think it's the best game ever made. I still like the first one more, but 3 is also really good too. Mass Effect 3 is underrated, I think. Timeline on the ground. Even though closing is expected early 2027, many steps still need to happen. There could be delays. I could definitely see there being delays, but who knows? Maybe it'll get delayed till 2028, and then pray to God there'll be a different president in the White House, a president who's a Democrat and not a Repugnatin, because that's what all Republicans are. They're repugnant. If you're a Republican, you're a repugnant piece of shit, and I hope you fuck off and die. Timeline and recent history. Early reporting late September indicated EA was in advanced talks to go private, while the initial valuation floating around $50 billion. Yes. I tried to keep the balcony door closed, but it just gets too stuffy in here. But it's going to get loud. You might hear noises. I live in a busy area in downtown Calgary. Lots of cars driving by, people repairing shit. So if it gets loud, sorry, but I like having the door open. But I want this to get aired out. So what could this deal mean for EA games? This is more interesting here. This is what I want to see. They break it down even better. So what could this mean for Madden and FIFA? These are EA's crown jewels. Annualized reports, sport titles with huge ultimate team monetization. Going private might let AI. Sorry, fuck. Going private might let EA experiment more aggressively with subscription models or bundling. Rolling updates instead of early releases. That just seems like they do a yearly release for Madden, NHL, and FIFA every year. Do they still do NHL? Or as some people like call it, Chell? They didn't even mention NHL here. They just said Madden and FIFA. Maybe they're bigger than NHL, probably. Saudi's involvement could potentially push for expanding soccer football content globally. I thought they already did, aligning with PIF's heavy investment in real-world sports. Battlefield has struggled to compete with Call of Duty in recent years. Private ownership may allow longer development cycle, pumping more money into rebuilding the franchise without the pressure of shareholders demanding annual revenue boosts. Well, Battlefield never got released yearly. It's been like how many years since the last Battlefield? I honestly don't remember. Definitely been a few years. They don't release Battlefield every year like Call of Duty. So that part here doesn't kind of make sense because they're gonna have whatever development cycle they want. Bah. Sorry, I'm getting distracted again. AI-driven tools could also be tested here for world building, asset creation, and live service updates. The Sims. The Sims 5 Project Renee is already in the works. Under new ownership, there could be a push to monetize lifestyle games more aggressively. Yeah, that could be the biggest one there of monetizing things even more aggressively, even though EA was actually under fire from, I believe it was like the UK or the British court for thinking that, I think it was Star Wars Battlefront 2. They thought that it was basically considered gambling in video games. There was a certain thing they were doing. I forget the details exactly, but I remember it being a controversy as EA were releasing these like boxes or some type of skin or add-on, but they're being questioned about the fact was it actually gambling, as as in they're putting gambling in games, which in some parts of the world is just straight up illegal. Given Saudi Arabia's focus on Vision 2030, I don't know what that means, and entertainment diversification, The Sims might become a flagship metaverse style game. But what does Vision 2030 mean? I've never heard that. Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 is a comprehensive government program launched in 2016, aiming to diversify the economy away from oil dependence. Yeah. Yeah. So they're like, I mean, that's not a bad idea. I kind of get down with that, that in general, the country is not trying to 100% rely on oil. As I guess Saudi Arabia is known for a lot of oil, and people have oil barons, and some of the richest people in the world all live in Saudi Arabia. See, the idea of that, I like the idea behind that, but the implications of that could be bad. Like maybe they're going to start buying out other gaming companies, or they'll want to. And I don't care EA. I don't care about EA that much, other than the fact of how it's going to affect BioWare. But what if they bought other companies and then fuck them over, or like decided to push their ideals into the games? Like, what if they bought Take Two, who owns Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead, like they own Rockstar, arguably the greatest dev working right now. You could argue that they are. I would almost say yes, they are. Because if you know GTA and Red Dead, you know how every time they release a game, it's an event. So imagine if a Saudi Arabia company owned Take Two. Like, what would that do? That would be terrible. And now down to BioWare RPG, Dragon Age Mass Effect. BioWare has been in a rough patch, with Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda being back-to-back failures. Privatization could give EA more freedom to fund ambitious, longer RPG projects without needing quarterly ROI. See, I like the idea of that, but I mean, the fact that EA could be owned by these people or bought out by some people that I really don't ethically wise, it's a big decision. Privatization gives EA more freedom to fund ambitious, longer RPG projects. See, I like that, but would they do that? Or conversely, the new owners could demand a leaner BioWare, focusing on monetization for any projects instead of sprawling, expensive RPGs. Smaller experimental games. Historically, EA has been risk averse about smaller projects. It shut down Visceral Games during the Star Wars project. A private EA might revive some willingness to test mid-tier or experimental games. Silver Lake and Infinity see value in diversifying the portfolio. All right, here's what I was talking about earlier: the Activision Blizzard deal. Which, yeah, this is information that I was probably going to look up anyways. But as they compare it, to the Microsoft Activision Blizzard 2022, for that was 69 billion. 69, nice. That was the biggest gaming deal ever, focusing on consolidating content to Game Pass and giving Xbox an edge. Yeah, but Xbox is dead. Didn't you guys know that? The EA deal is slightly smaller but different in nature. Instead of a platform holder buying content, this is a private equity and sovereign wealth fund stepping into gaming, which could be a bad sign. Maybe more companies are going to do this, or maybe they're going to wait to see how this works out for them and then swoop in and say, okay, I could see. I mean, I can see this happening with more companies, and it could be a very bad sign. Like depending on which companies or devs get bought. But I mean, I think if Take Two and 2K is one that I could see being taken. I don't know why specifically, but I think Take Two are too big, and I think they're also partly owned by Tencent. They might be. Tencent owns like parts of so many devs. So, in comparison to the Take Two Zynga deal in 2022 for 12.7 billion, Take Two bought Zynga for mobile expansion. EA going private could open the door to mobile pivots, particularly in sports and The Sims. Well, EA already has mobile games, so I'm not sure what they mean. They already have a bunch of mobile games. I wonder if they still have those in-browser games. When I was working at EA in Burnaby, I was actually on a bunch of different teams, and I was on a team that actually tested the in-browser games for EA. That's all we did. It was very strange. I don't know if they still exist, but there are games like Command and Conquer that you could just play within the browser without anything extra. I used to just test those pages. Other tech parallels, Dell going private in 2013. Dell went private via a massive leveraged buyout, using the freedom to restructure, then later re-entered the public market stronger. So what are you saying? They could go private and then go public again? That's the thing that you can do. I mean, I don't understand businesses, but like, is that the plan then? Are they doing the same thing? They're going to go private and then go public again? I don't know. EA could follow the same playbook, fix internal efficiencies, push growth, live services, and relaunch with an IPO in 5.7 years. 5 to 7 years. I mean, that could be a thing. I don't know how that works. Risks and concerns. AI overreach. If new owners push AI as a cost-cutting tool too aggressively, quality could suffer. Yeah, I mean, imagine AI generated quests and dialogue that lack human touch. That's a thing that's probably already happening or close to happening. Cultural influence. Some critics may worry about Saudi ownership influencing content moderation, representation, or story themes in EA games. Yeah, for sure. Debt burden. 20 billion in debt is a huge weight. If EA underperforms, the new owners may slash staff or studios. To service debt. Franchise fatigue. Madden, Battlefield, FIFA all risk oversaturation if new owners demand more monetization than innovation. I don't really see how this is a good thing for EA anyway. Short term, next 2 years, no big changes. EA still launches Madden, Battlefield updates, Sims 5 progress, Dragon Age, Dreadwolf. Why are you talking about the next Dragon Age? How about talking about the next Mass Effect? You just released a Dragon Age. Medium term, 2027 and 2030, post deal restructuring hits. Some studios shuttered. AI enhanced workflows, possible bold relaunch of Battlefield and Mass Effect. Long term, 2030 plus, EA could emerge as a streamlined, massively profitable private gaming giant or collapse under debt and over monetization pressure. I say the second one is more likely. Now it's going to give me a breakdown of what studios are most at risk or likely to benefit from this piece of shit led takeover. Major EA studios under microscope. BioWare, Edmonton, and Austin. Edmonton is just up the street from me in Calgary, Alberta. Private ownership could give BioWare more time and resources to polish games, something they have lacked under shareholder pressure. Mass Effect is a prestige franchise that Saudi investors might see as culturally significant for global expansion. Mass Effect is one of my favorite franchises, so this could affect that franchise big time. I mean, I'd say it's probably my second favorite franchise after Fallout. If Dreadwolf underperforms, BioWare could face downsizing and consolidation. Why are you talking about Dreadwolf? Is this like what Veilguard used to be? Like, why is there the next game going to be another Dragon Age game? Yeah, okay. This EA this AI answer is old because Dreadwolf is Veilguard. That's Dreadwolf is what Veilguard used to be. Even though I like Dreadwolf better, it's a cooler name. So these responses don't seem to take in the fact that Dragon Age Veilguard Dreadwolf is already out. Risk number two, RPGs are expensive and slow to monetize compared to sports live service, a mismatch with private equity ROI timelines. BioWare's fate depends entirely on Dreadwolf's reception. If it flops, they are at risk. Oh, damn, I forgot about Respawn. Yeah, Respawn made Apex Legends, but also the Jedi Fallen Order Survivor games, and Jedi Survivor is freaking amazing. Like I ended up buying it after playing it on Game Pass because it's just so stinking good. Still haven't finished it, but I played Fallen Order as well. But something about Fallen Order just wasn't clicking for me. But then in Survivor, it all was just like, yeah, this is such a good game, and I'm like, yeah, that's another great developer. Respawn, they're an excellent developer, but like, will this hurt them? I mean, according to this information, they're saying that it could be good. Private ownership likely means more investment since they constantly deliver hits, which is true. Expect more Star Wars projects, possible expansions of Titanfall, and long-term support for Apex. Well, Apex is like supposed to be a spin-off of Titanfall games, but I don't know them well enough to know the whole story. Risk overexploitation. Private equity might demand Respawn spin too many plates at once. But the verdict: Respawn is the safest bet in EA's portfolio. They'll likely be expanded, not cut. Dice is also another developer who are always had consistent quality. The current developers of Battlefield last entry struggled badly. Opportunities. When the deals focus on AI and long term restructuring, Battlefield might finally get the breathing room for a proper comeback. PIF investment ties and global military simulation interest could ironically make Battlefield a prestige IP to push. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's hard to beat Call of Duty no matter what. Even if it's a better game overall, Call of Duty is just a way bigger IP. Risk. If the next Battlefield doesn't deliver, Dice could be downsized or absorbed. Yeah, but what are you basing that on? Is that just the AI just coming up with that or basing it on past information? Verdict: dice is make or break. A strong Battlefield 7 saves them. Failure could mean structuring. Is it Battlefield 7 that's coming out next or Battlefield 6? I thought it was 6. No, it's 7. But it's getting some good feedback, but sorry. EA Sports, Vancouver, Madrid, Bucharest. Well, when I worked at EA in BC, it was in Burnaby, so I'm not sure if they're including. That's what they mean by Vancouver, or because I don't believe there is an EA studio in Vancouver. I lived in the Vancouver part, and I went to Burnaby to work at EA. But then I ended up moving just on the street from it because I had to move. So I moved to Burnaby, and I lived right next door to the EA studio, or more like a campus. The EA building is like a mini college campus. But they're talking about all the EA Sports studios in Madrid and Bucharest, and there's more than that. And opportunities. PIF is heavily invested in global sports. Expect more funding, bigger licensing deals, and expanded Ultimate Team monetization. Potential new ventures into cricket, basketball, or global sport. I can see cricket, but basketball, they gave up on basketball with NBA Live a while ago. And I don't know. The 2K games are too good to compete with that. Like, those games are really good. I mean, I'm not a sports guy, but I still bought the 2K 23 or 24 because it was so cheap and I had some extra money at CD Key. So I just bought it and I was like, wow, this is like so good. Just a really amazingly well made game. I don't know, whatever. Shut up. Risks: fans already complain about microtransactions under private equity. Monetization pressure will only increase. Oh, for sure. Verdict: absolutely safe. EA Sports will expand aggressively, possibly doubling its footprint. Maxis in Emeryville. Current status: working on Sims 5. Opportunities: private ownership might push Maxis to transform The Sims into a lifestyle platform. I don't know why they haven't yet. I'm surprised that's not a thing that exists. I kind of figured that it already did exist. Could become EA's metaverse play. Saudi backers love large, enduring social platforms. Risk: over monetization could backfire. The Sims 4 already faced criticism for endless paid expansions. Verdict: safe but likely radically reshaped into a subscription driven platform. Criterion Games in the UK. Known for Need for Speed and supporting Battlefield. Opportunities: racing games are strong in Middle Eastern markets. Could see revival of Need for Speed with Saudi backing. Risks: Battlefield founders Criterion could since cut. Wait, if Battlefield flounders, Criterion could be cut since they're partly a support studio now, which is BS. Says they're too good of a studio to be a support studio. But I don't recall the last time a Need for Speed came out. Current status: supporting Battlefield Apex mobile projects. Risks: these are prime targets for cuts if private equity needs to trim fat. At high risk unless they attach themselves to a major IP. Nope. I don't know. Is that a proper answer? Question to a hazel? Key metrics and commercial performance for Dragon Age of Veilguard. I just wanted to see what it came up with. It engaged approximately 1.5 million players during its first 2 months, ending December 31st. That number was below. That number was about 50% below their expectations. Importantly, engagement here includes players via subscriptions or free trials, EA Play, EA Play Pro, not just outright sales. Really? Sure. Yeah, that's not even like an accurate number then. Yeah, it doesn't say how many people bought it. It just says engaged. What exactly does engaged mean? At release, the game did hit some strong early interest. On Steam, it broke BioWare's previous record for concurrent players, reaching over 85,000 at peak weekend, launch weekend. On review aggregator sites, gave Veilguard a generally favorable review. I think I already did a video about this. I think my last live stream was about this. Shoot. Yeah, I already did. I wish there was a way to pause the stream because I had planned on talking about another thing, and then I forgot that I already talked about it. About how the shows have made games more popular. I'm going to end my stream right there because I ran out of stuff to talk about. But this was a lame stream. If you did watch, thanks. I'm going to try to do more considering that right now where I work is on strike. So when I'm not on the picket line, I'll be doing some streaming.